Hello, Mary. So Mendoza is downtown. Then we have one, he's at Green Bay, and then we have one laptop there. Oh. So whenever they're done with one, they'll bring him in. So okay. Probably go out of the order with him. Okay.
I don't know if you had a chance to look at the docket, and I didn't look at the offense report, but Ballard, Joshua Ballard.
Mike is on, by the way. Huh? Mike is on, by the way. So, I don't care.
There's it shows several companions, all names that you would recognize. Oh. But it doesn't show it on Ballard. It shows it on Jack out of Livingston.
Okay. Are you resolving conflicts with counsel? Do you know, for Ballard, if there's co-cases? You resolve it for the attorneys?
Oh yeah, everyone has their own.
Okay.
Yes. That new system that we use works perfectly, and it avoids doing that.
Right. Okay, good. And
good morning, Your Honor. I'm just checking on Mike. Good morning.
Thank you, Ms. Reyes. Reyes, hear you loud and clear. There's no conflict on a detention hearing. If it's just detention that's represented for the case, there can be conflict.
Okay. And where is our attorney today?
Okay, good.
Those are adorable. I can just eat them up. You already did, like a dog with a bone. Shh.
Oh, you're yeah, thank you. Can we hold on to the ad items?
Is it for a field kit or for
Field.
yeah, yeah, and you give it on to Ashley or Bernice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go out and call him in because he might go on a different order.
Okay.
Just Kim's doing his first. Just Kim and then just Porter doing the second part.
Okay. So I'm supposed to be court flow ad items in the courtroom. So do you want me to just monitor for releases?
Yeah, you can do that. I'll do
Okay.
that.
All right. Well, I'll be in the front side. I'll just
Okay.
watch.
Okay, that works.
All right, good morning, everyone. So this is the detention docket for the 323rd District Court. It is now 10:33, so we're beginning. Let everyone know because the courtroom is currently closed to in-person proceedings in accordance with the Texas Supreme Court Emergency Order number 22 related to the coronavirus and local Tarrant County Judge Glenn Whitley's order as well. However, in order to comply with the orders, we are conducting these proceedings remotely via Zoom as well in order to comply with Article 1, Section 13 of the Texas Constitution. We are broadcasting these proceedings on YouTube for the public to observe since we are not allowing the public into the courtroom itself. All right, so we'll go ahead and start. We're waiting on an inmate, which is supposedly the first one, Mr. Mendoza, but the Tarrant County Sheriff is trying to make arrangements at our jail. So we're going to start with Joshua Ballard. All right, hello, Mr. Ballard. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 business days while you're here. You do have a right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I will provide one for you. Before we start, I'd like to remind everyone here that this is a court proceeding, so I'm asking everyone to remain free from distracting backgrounds or environments. Please do not walk around with the camera. Please remove any domesticated animals. Do not use the restroom or take showers during these Zoom proceedings. Do not have ceiling fans or bright lights behind you. I mentioned all these things because they have all, in fact, happened in the past. All right, Joshua, you're 14 years old. So your history of this started when you had just turned 13 with a theft case. You got supervisory caution. 4 months later, you're arrested for terroristic threat, which you got deferred prosecution for. Then 2 months later, you're arrested for criminal trespass. You were placed on probation. You had to be brought in for violating probation in February of this year, April of this year, and May of this year. And we brought you in this weekend. You were positive for marijuana. Okay, Mr. Jennings, he's currently still on probation. Mr. Jennings. Mr. Jennings here. Somebody covering for Mr. Jennings. Well,
Your Honor, I believe that I was the secondary attorney, if you're waiting for an attorney.
all right. Okay, we'll do that, Mr. Beaver. We'll have you here. Yeah. So, Mary, let's see. That's one thing. I wonder if on these reports they can put when the probation ends. Like, I know when it started. I just don't know when it ends.
Okay,
So,
I can
yeah.
look it up for you.
All right, Joshua. So, Joshua, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So on August 22nd, you were referred in custody by the Arlington Police Department for aggravated robbery. They were dispatched to a shooting in progress on Lincoln Drive. When they got there, they saw one victim was shot multiple times, transported to Arlington Memorial, then airlifted from there to another hospital. Another victim was at Arlington Memorial for injuries. Officers also learned there's a third person inside the apartment that was unharmed and asleep. All right, let's figure out what happened. Okay, officers responded to a location, saw located several fired shell casings on the ground in the parking lot outside the apartment. There are several bullet holes in the window of the apartment. There was a protective suite and nobody was found. First victim was unable to speak to officers since he was in surgery. They went to Arlington Memorial to speak to the second victim. He said he was staying overnight at the home of the first victim, who's on the lease. At about 8:30, there was a knock on the door. The door was answered. There were 3 black males standing outside on the front porch. The homeowner told the males to leave, but they refused. The second victim started a verbal altercation with the people on the porch. Said all 3 males were armed with handguns. 3 males physically assaulted the second victim, stole cash. 3 males told the second victim they knew it was more cash, but he was able to retreat back into the apartment and shut the door. Then they heard a bunch of gunshots and realized the other victim was shot. Victim 2 said he thought all 3 males shot because the shots sounded simultaneously. The first person was taken to the hospital by a neighbor while the other 2 stayed on scene. Victim 2 stated that he knew 2 of the males, provided an Instagram handle, Jackboy, as one of the shooters. They looked up Instagram, recognized a person from our previous investigation as Joshua Ballard. Is Mr. Jennings here? Not here yet? I have some questions about this. Okay. All right. Well, in that case of that investigation, Joshua Ballard was suspected of shooting into an apartment. 6-picture lineup was given, and they positively identified Joshua Ballard. So police got a search warrant, recovered projectiles, shell casings, and items seized. The officers believe that the first was dealing marijuana out of his apartment, and the robbery was related to the drug dealing. Of course, Mr. Jennings is not here to explain how he got there. All right, and we don't know how the profile and research conducted recognized a person from a previous investigation. Like who said that? Well, here's the thing. I think this case is weak, Josh, but here's the problem. You're on probation, you're positive for weed, so I'm gonna detain you for that. You shouldn't be smoking marijuana while you're on probation, all right? So at this point, hopefully they'll get another case in. Yeah, I got it. So, Mr. Ballard, hopefully, well, we'll see if they get the rest of the facts in, but at this point, I'm detaining you because you're testing positive while you're in probation. That's a poor decision on your part. Thank you, sir.
Judge Kim.
Yes, Mr. Adler.
Mr. Jennings just texted me that he's trying to get in. I don't know if that matters to you or not.
Yeah, he's not showing up. He can amend this. It would have been a much bigger deal had Mr. Ballard not tested positive for weed, but I think Zoom is having problems nationwide, is my understanding.
Okay.
So we're just trying to do the best we can. I'm not,
Okay.
If anybody from JPD is watching, I'm not upset with Mr. Jennings.
Okay. Thanks, Judge.
So, thank you, Mr. Adler.
Your Honor,
Yes, Mr. Pearson.
may I be excused?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Pearson. I hope you see where I'm coming from on this one.
Oh, sure, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, the report didn't say how they identified Joshua in that Instagram handle and got to him, but you can't smoke weed while you're on probation.
No, I understand.
All right.
We're prepared for that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right, so the next one we're going to do is from the Tarrant County the jail, Mr. Benito Mendoza.
Yeah, I'm sure you get the same thing. We have an issue with doing all morning.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Mendoza, are you here? There we are. All right, Mr. Adler, this is your client, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I remember, he doesn't speak English. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so if you can just, I'm going to give you the brief rundown. If you can interpret it for me. So
Sure.
Mr. Mendoza, no, this is a juvenile detention hearing. We have to have this every 10 days while he's here. And I have to review his case. I have to make a decision. He has the right to remain silent. He has the right to an attorney.
Señor Mendoza, es el abogado Frank. El juez te está diciendo que cada 10 días tienes el derecho de tener una audiencia con él, tienes el derecho de no hablar hoy y tienes el derecho de tener un abogado y como usted ya sabe, yo soy su abogado.
And Mr. Adler, the audio came a little bit digitized. Can you ask him to make sure he understood what you said?
Señor Mendoza, ¿usted entendió todo lo que yo te dije? Con la cabeza, o sí o que no. He understood, Judge.
Okay. So we're starting to have problems. What I'm going to do at this point is going to ask, I know there's a bunch of people from JPD observing that are kind of management supervisors. I'm trying to reduce the amount of bandwidth. If there are people from JPD that are not essential and just observing, could I ask you to go to the YouTube channel so that way I don't want Zoom to crash on us. And so just, I'm not asking anybody by name, just voluntarily. If you feel like you can observe sufficiently through YouTube, I'm requesting that you do, not ordering it though. Okay, so Mr. Adler, if you can translate or interpret to Mr. Mendoza, He was here on a serious felony offense when he was 15 back in 2003. He was
Señor
actually,
Mendoza, oh, I'm sorry, Judge.
no, go ahead.
Señor Mendoza, que estabas aquí en un cargo serio, felonía o cargos mayores en el 2003.
And he was mistakenly released from the Mejia State School.
Y que la escuela de Mejia te dejó ir en un accidente.
But he ran for 15 years and never appeared.
Pero usted corrió por 15 años y nunca regresaste.
And so my fear is if I release them, he would not show up for court.
Y yo tengo miedo que si yo te dejo ir, que usted no va a venir a la corte.
I'm also concerned because he was caught trying to exit the United States into the Republic of Mexico.
Y también tengo preocupaciones porque estabas tratando de irse de los Estados Unidos a regresar a México.
So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and keep you detained.
En este momento te voy a seguir deteniendo en la cárcel.
Does he have any questions for me?
¿Tienes preguntas para el juez, señor Mendoza?
No tengo.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, Sheriff, thank you very much for bringing this inmate. We appreciate you taking your time to help us.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you,
We
Judge.
have an update on this case.
Yes, sir, Mr. Adler?
We have an update on this case. I don't know if you want me to do it during a detention hearing or if I should come see you in person tomorrow.
If you can come and see me, I'm afraid Zoom's going to crash any moment, so I'm trying to go through as fast as possible.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Marco Cesareta. I believe Ms. YYYYY is the attorney. Rita, are you here? All right. Mr. Beaver, I'm going to ask you to pinch hit.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, are you Marco?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I need to decide whether to keep you here or to release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent and you have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, I'll provide one for you. All right, so Marco, you're 16 years old.
Yes, sir.
You have never been here before. I'm sorry?
No, sir.
You're not 16?
No, yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's see. On Friday, you were referred by Fort Worth PD. They're saying they were investigating a stolen vehicle. They used GPS to track the vehicle. And Encore, I guess they were the victim. Encore shut off the vehicle. The police activated the lights. When they got to the car, they identified Damien and Martin as the front passengers. They found a brown revolver, 38, in the passenger door within reach of Martin. The victim opened the vehicle. The victim reported the vehicle stolen a few hours before it was found. Damon was arrested for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Martin was arrested for unlawfully carrying a weapon. The report doesn't say if the gun belonged to the victim or was reported stolen. So Martin was transported to our facility. Ms. Turner-Hill, are you here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so I have a question. The child's name is Marco, but in the report it's saying Martin. Is that?
Yeah, it's Marco. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's all right. Just making sure we had the right Cesareta. All right,
Marco.
All right, so Marco, let's see. This happened just Friday, but back in July, so you were brought in by Fort Worth PD. The victim said that his 2001 F-450 was stolen after he left it running with keys in the ignition when he was working on a home in North Fort Worth. Neighbors reported seeing two Hispanic males, one with an afro, another with a black t-shirt, enter the truck and drive away. So there's a stolen police report. Stolen car police report. A few minutes later, police saw the vehicle, drove the owner to it, where he identified the truck. It was locked. The keys were no longer in the ignition. Officers also found a second stolen vehicle, and Marco's name was provided as a potential suspect, but we're not sure how. Officers obtained Marco's address, attempted to speak with him, when a second juvenile, identified as Martin Hernandez, ran out the back door, was caught by the police. Officer spoke with Marco. He admitted to being in possession of the keys and a cell phone, both found in his room, that weren't his. So Marco said that Martin stole the truck, and Martin reported that Marco was a driver. So Marco said Martin stole it, and Martin said that Marco was driving it.
Yes,
No
sir.
honor among thieves. So Marco was brought here. So that's July 14th. So you were released 2 weeks later. Fort Worth PD brought you in. They're saying on July 14th, which is the same day as the truck was stolen, there's a burglary call at a house. The victim said he heard noise coming from her garage. She admitted the garage door was open. She saw 2 Hispanic males in the garage. One later identified as Martin Hernandez was sitting in her car going through the center console. The second suspect, identified as Marco, was standing outside the car as a lookout. They ran away when they heard the victim enter the garage. She has a Ring camera, caught the suspects entering and exiting the garage, happened the same day as that stolen F-450, and they were wearing the same clothes. So we give you a drug test. So you're on a pending case. So you brought in July 14th, Marco, for stealing a vehicle. You were let go. You're brought in for burglary of a habitation, but that was the same day as before. You just happened to get caught later on. So you're let go. So while you have 2 cases pending, one of which can result in 20 years, 20 years in TDC. You're smoking marijuana, and now you're caught in a stolen car with a gun in your vicinity. All right, well, Marco, it seems to me that you're escalating everything, and it's just getting worse and worse, and releasing you means not, or being here means nothing when we release you. So I feel like if I release you now, you'd just be a danger to you, the community as well as yourself. Last thing I want to see is you get shot for stealing a car or stealing somebody's property. And so I think it's just best for you if you just stay here at our facility. All right, you'll see a judge within 10 days. Thank you, sir. All right, next we have Jadelyn Clinton.
Your Honor, this is David Van Hook. I'm handling this case for Cynthia Gonzalez.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Mr. Clinton. I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The law says when a child is brought here, you have to see a judge within 2 business days. I get to decide whether you stay here or you get released. If I keep you here, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent, and you have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we'll provide one for you. So Jadelyn, you're 16 years old. You turned 17 in November. Let's see. This all started when you were 15 with a invasive visual recording, which was refused. Then you're still 15 with a criminal trespass. We let you out a week later. You get arrested for organized retail theft, possession of marijuana, and evading arrest, and unauthorized use of motor vehicle. No, organized retail theft. So we let you out, and then a week later, you get arrested for possession of marijuana, evading arrest, and unauthorized use of motor vehicle, evading arrest with a motor vehicle. We let you out, and then you get arrested for theft of property from $750 to $2,500. Then your case is pending. You get probation in January. And now in April, you get arrested for burglary of a building and criminal trespass, which was dismissed by the DA. Burglary of a building. The next day, you get arrested for criminal trespass and failed to ID. And then a month later, you're arrested for aggravated robbery, which was dismissed by the DA. And then now we are here. So on Friday, on to police department, the investigative stop, saw one of the suspects in the silver Nissan vehicle. They ran the Louisiana tags, but got no returns. When they walked up the car, everyone tried to get out. When they opened the door, a strong odor of marijuana came from the car. Told everyone to stay in there. 2 juveniles were identified. According to the report, Jadelyn was sitting in the back right passenger seat and was saw by another officer reaching around attempting to discard something. A bag of weed was found underneath the passenger side of the car where Jadelyn was located. Officers thought that Jadelyn dropped the bag as he was asked to leave the vehicle, trying to conceal it. 2 other bags of weed were found in the pocket behind the driver's seat. The marijuana that was around Jadelyn had weighed 1/4 ounce, 7 grams. All right, so you refused a drug test on Friday when you came in. You were also ordered on probation not to associate with Mr. Livingston, who was there in the car with you. You're not complying with TCAP and community-based detention.
Oh no, you say TCAP?
Mr. Van Hook, so let me ask you this. You refused the UA, so finally we got one yesterday?
Yes, sir.
And it was all negative?
It was negative, yes, sir. If it's any consolation, Your Honor, we just had it wasn't a court hearing, but it was an agreement outside of the court on August 13th where his probation was extended until his 18th birthday. He was ordered to function family therapy, have an 8 p.m. curfew, and the electronic monitor was removed at that time. And so I know one of the stipulations in his original probation was not to associate with Mr. Livingston, who was definitely in the vehicle at the time that it was pulled over.
Right. So we removed his EM and established a curfew, and then he ends up violating the curfew pretty much right after we removed the EM.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this actually offense took place at 6 p.m. evening time, Your Honor. By the time he got to us, after being transported to Arlington and booked in and all that, it was after his curfew. But the actual event itself, when they got pulled over, was at 18:07 p.m.
Right. So here's the thing. This is the irony of it all, Jadelyn, right? Is you're on probation. You're in the car with the marijuana, but if you had submitted your UA on Friday when you're brought in, you were clean. Obviously, you weren't using the marijuana, and it'd be fine. But when a kid refuses a drug test, I just presume you're dirty for everything. So even though you provided a clean one yesterday, I'm assuming it worked out of your system and you were actually dirty on the day that you came in. So I'm detaining you because you're smoking weed while you're on probation. All right? So that's the problem when you refuse a UA is you just might as well submit because I'm just going to assume you're dirty for everything. Because one of the conditions of your probation is you're not supposed to refuse a UA. All right, so we'll keep you here. We'll see what happens in the future. Yes, Mr. Van Hook.
Your Honor, I also want to advise the court that we do plan on filing a VOCO with the DA's office because he continues to hang out with Mr. Livingston as a stipulation of probation. It seems as though Mom couldn't be here today because she was in California for the weekend. And so she won't get back until 4 or 5 p.m. this evening, our time. I also want to let the court know that as well. His sister was supposed to be the one watching him, and she was one of the participants in the vehicle that when it was pulled over, it's my understanding that she was detained on warrants. So
he's in a car with a bunch of weed with people, juveniles on probation, as well as his sister who has active warrants for him.
Yes, sir. His sister is 18 years old.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Clinton, at some point you had to know, well, it appears to me that one would think that there were some bad decisions made and a series of bad decisions made. So anyways, well, this is a consequence of your decision. So we'll go ahead and keep you here. We'll figure out what's going on with you, see if we can help you or not. All right. Thank you, Mr. Clinton.
Thank you.
Jacob Dorsey. All right, Mr. Dorsey, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The law says when your child is brought here, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to decide whether to release you or keep you in custody. If I keep you in custody, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, I'll provide one for you. All right, Jacob, so you're 14 years old. You've never been here before. All right, so yesterday, Fort Worth PD said that about 8 o'clock at night, police were dispatched for a runaway where the complainant, Jacob's foster mom, was following her 2 runaway foster kids. Said one of the subjects had something sharp in his hand, was throwing items at vehicles. When the police got there, he saw both subjects, turned on his lights to detain them, and Jacob dropped his bags and ran from the officers, refusing to stop. When he got to a tall fence, he turned to face the officer, refused to turn around to be cuffed. He actively resisted arrest, and they had to take you to the ground. While on the ground waiting for backup, the officer was struck in the right ear with a closed fist by Jacob. All right, is foster mom here?
Yes, and foster dad.
Okay, where are you? Okay. All right. Is there any way you can y'all angle the screen down a little bit so I can see you? Just tilt it down, please. Thank you. All right.
That Jacob there.
All right. So y'all have foster placement. Is Jacob post termination or before? Is the case pending?
The case is pending.
Okay. Great. Is CPS here? Have they been notified of this?
We're not sure. We notified our foster agency. We don't know if CPS has been notified. Just to let you know, Jacob was in another foster home being babysat by another foster family over the weekend, but he is our placement.
Okay. So was he in respite care then at the time?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. How long has Jacob been with y'all?
Since December this past year.
Are you noticing behavior problems like this in your home?
Often.
Yes.
Okay. Are y'all going to continue, you intend to continue fostering him?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
He's
Okay,
in a
Jacob. I'm sorry?
He's in a therapeutic program based on his behavior.
Sure. All right. Is he diagnosed?
Yes.
Yes.
What's he diagnosed with?
Mood disorder, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, anger management,
Okay.
several things.
Sure. I understand. Is he on his medication?
Yes.
Yes.
Was he yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. When's the last time you saw the doctor? Do you know?
He sees a psychiatrist once a month.
Once a month. Okay. And the last time you saw one?
Therapists, 2 of them every week.
When's the last time you saw the psychiatrist?
It's probably been a week or 10 days ago.
Okay.
I got a refill on his meds.
Did they adjust the medication?
No.
All right. So Jacob, here we are. Decisions were made. All right. Apparently, it seems like very poor decisions. Probably starting with walking out of the foster home that you were in. Now, I can't imagine what you're going through being in the foster system right now. I'm not here to beat you up. Okay. I'm telling you that right now, Jacob. But can you give me a courtesy of looking at me while I'm talking to you? All right. Thank you. All right. So I'm not here to beat you up. All right. Things happen. I'm actually okay with the idea of releasing you, but there has to be consequences to the decisions that you make. All right. So this is what I want to do. I have in my mind an idea of what an appropriate consequence is. All right. I want to hear your take on this. What's an appropriate consequence to walking out of the foster home when the police come up that you run off instead of just complying with them, right? And that you resist arrest and then you go out and strike an officer, right? Now, if that's all true, what would be an appropriate consequence?
To keep me here?
Well, I mean, I don't want to keep you here forever. That's not right. You know what I mean? Like, there's limits. Like, at what point does it become painful enough where you decide you're not going to do that again?
Just try to stay in the home.
Yeah. I mean, you understand, like, this idea of running away. In some ways, you think, wow, that's a great idea. I can't stand this place. I need to get out of here. But you understand forever is a long time, right? Like that, yes. Forever is a long time. Shoot, even like a week or a month is a long time. Like, how long can you couch surf, right, on the run? You're not going to do it for 3 years. You're going to have to do it for almost 4 years because until you turn 18, right? Like, nobody wants you living on their couch for 4 years. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, I don't want you here. I don't think you belong here. But here's my problem, Jacob, is if I let you go, I have to be confident that you're not going to walk out of the house again. I have to be confident that if you do, when the police tell you to stop, you're going to stop, that you're not going to resist arrest. When they tell you to turn around, you turn around, right? Even me as a judge, right? If a police officer in uniform is telling me you need to turn around, I'm going to arrest you. Well, you know what? I'm not going to win that fight, right? I'm not. Like, nothing good can come out of resisting. So, you know what? I may have to get arrested. I may have to get in the back of the police car, because all that police officer wanted to do, honestly, Jacob, because your runaway is just bring you back home. It bring you back to the fosters. That's all he was trying to do. His rules say that he can't have you loose in the car. He has to cuff you, right? So we could have skipped this whole ordeal of you getting arrested, looking at these cases against you by if you just followed what the police officer said, okay? So this is my concern. It just seems like there's some mood disorder stuff going on, all right?
Yes.
So Jacob, you have to convince me that it's safe to release you, all right? The evading, the resisting, those are different. When you actually strike somebody, that gives me a lot of concern, okay? I have to be confident that if I release you, you're not going to be physically violent against your fosters or anybody else, okay? You see where I'm going with this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to detain you for now, okay? But did they explain the levels, behavior levels here to you?
No.
Jacob, no? Okay. So we have these behavior levels. It takes 3 days to adjust between the levels 1, 2, and 3. Right now you're level 2 because you just came in here. So that the plan is if you can follow all the rules, not lash out, not fight, not disobey people, not be defiant, then you can get to level 1 within 3 days and I will release you to your foster parents. Just easy as that. But you understand, if you start mouthing off, you start bowing up and causing problems, your behavior level doesn't go up and you stay here, okay? And the reason why I'm doing this, Jacob, is I want you to understand that now that the juvenile court is involved, you have to follow the rules. Like you can't do it your way until this case is done. So that means when you get out of here, which you will, but when you get out of here, then you'll go back to your fosters. So you have to follow their rules until this case is done, okay? This is the consequence of the decisions that you made. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Jacob, I'm gonna let you know that I know that I'm very tough, but I know that I'm fair. I'll always be honest with you. I'll always shoot straight with you. I won't go back on my word. If I make a mistake, I'll own up to my mistakes, okay? But on the other hand, I'm expecting you to do the same thing. I expect you to follow your word. If you make a mistake, to own up to your mistakes. Does that sound like a fair deal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, foster mom, foster dad, you understand what we're doing, right? It takes 3 days to adjust between levels. If he gets a level 1 outstanding, I'm okay releasing him, because what that does is that proves to me and proves to you two that he can follow the rules.
Okay.
Right? There's no physical impediment or psychological or psychiatric impediment preventing that from happening. And then if he's causing problems at home, please just let our probation office know, and we can bring him back here and he can prove it all over again. Okay?
So he will be on probation then after this?
Well, that's the case pending. So there may be a valid case for the DA's office to prosecute. There may not be. That's really up to his attorney, the attorneys. Right now, my decision is simply whether I release him or keep him here. I don't want to keep him here, but because it seems like Jacob kind of escalated this too far, that I need him to prove to me that he can behave before I'm comfortable releasing him. Because here's the thing, I don't want him hurting either of you two. Looks like Jacob's kind of growing up and starting to get bigger and stronger. I don't need y'all to be in any kind of physical danger either.
Okay. Sounds
There's
good.
a special place in heaven for foster parents, all right? And I'm sincerely grateful for you opening up your hearts and homes, all right, to the foster children, but I do have a duty to protect you no matter how much you love them.
I appreciate that.
Okay. One last request. If you could please let the probation officer know what the court case number for Jacob is, all right? Y'all should have some kind of documentation on that. We just,
No, not yet, no.
oh, was he just recently placed with you?
No, oh, the court, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Okay.
Yes, yes, we have that, yes.
Yeah, CPS case number, I will need that. And
Yes.
if who's the probation officer for this one?
That's
Ms.
me.
Paxton. Yes, Ms.
Yes.
Paxton, whenever they get that cause number to you, can you go ahead and relay that to Stephanie?
Yes, I sure can.
All right, thank you very much.
And just to clarify, Your Honor, do you want him released on EM or just a straight release?
Well, so here's the thing. Mom, Dad, what's his history of running away? I know what happened at respite. Does he run away from your home too?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Jacob, so here's the deal. We're gonna put an electronic monitor on you when we release you. All right, if you follow all the rules for 30 days, then we take the monitor off until the next time you run away or walk out when you're not supposed to. But if you keep on pushing the limits of the electronic monitor, the EM will stay on you for years, okay, all the way to your 18th birthday. Okay, so this is, again, I hope you understand my perspective. Show me you can follow the rules, then I'll give you more freedom. But the more you fight against the rules, then the less freedom that you have. Okay?
Yeah, he has a certain path that he has to stay on in our neighborhood, and he violates that path often.
Well, this will be different with electronic monitor. Why does he take the path in your neighborhood?
He kind of uses that to relax and kind of calm down when he's upset.
He can
Okay,
stay
so that-
within a certain area of our neighborhood, but he goes beyond that. Like he'll go around the highway to these parks.
Okay, so is that one of his coping mechanisms, is to kind of
Yeah.
walk it off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you can talk to Miss Paxton. She will definitely, it's called geofencing. So we can set the limitations on his
Right.
electronic monitor, anything, all right?
Okay.
And so this way, Miss Paxton will work with you and figure out what's best for him. If that's his coping skill, I don't want to take that away from him, but we have to set boundaries.
Yes.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Miss Paxton. All right, Brian Key. Hello, Mr. Berger.
Morning, Judge.
All right, Mr. Key, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. The purpose of this hearing is the law says when child's brought here, you have to see a judge within 2 days. I have to make a decision whether to keep you in, Mary, look at this. I have to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent, and you have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we'll provide one for you. All right, Mr. Key, you are 16 years old. Oh my. All right, so Brian, let's go over your history. You're 16 years old. It all started when you were 10 years old. Yeah, with possession of weed case. And then you're released. Nothing happened until you're 12. There's a assault family violence case. Then when you're 14, another family violence case. You turn 15. And now you're looking at another weed case in a drug-free zone. You get released. A month later, you're arrested for burglary of a building, which you got probation for. And then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 violations of probation along the way. All right, so the court ordered you to placement. You were unsuccessfully discharged because you left the facility. Back in August of this year, you left your dorm without permission with 3 other peers. You're seen on camera roaming the campus for several hours. All right, Mr. Lockhart, what campus was he at? Where was he at?
He was at Clarinda Academy, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, so we sent you to placement in Iowa. So you're roaming the campus for several hours, going from dorm to dorm. They said that you returned to the dorm around 2:30 in the morning. Between 1:30 and 2:30, you were not visible on camera. A local resident said his truck had been stolen. Then later that day, the same truck was discovered parked in front of the Clarinda Academy entrance. So they gave Clarinda Police Department a statement involving Brian and the 3 other people leaving campus, and the owners filing charges. So I guess he was discharged here to Texas, or back to here, right, Mr. Lockhart?
Yes, that's correct.
So right now, he is on probation for burglary of a building.
Yes.
Which is a state jail felony. All right, well, Brian, here's the deal. I want you to understand the situation that you're in, all right? So my general rule of thumb is I give kids a chance at probation. If they can't make it through probation, I'll give them a chance at a placement. And then if they can't make it through placement, then they just go to TJJD. All right, you know what TJJD is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I explained that to you, right? I think I did your hearing on the placement. So yeah, I explained that this is your chance. I said, go to Iowa and show me that you don't need to go to TJJD. Show me that you can make good decisions. Show me that you've been rehabilitated. So I don't have to worry about you inside our community. And if I remember right, you said you will and you understood. Well, now we're there. Here's a problem that I'm looking at is, one, we have your probation violation for not successfully completing Clarendon Academy placement, all right? The next thing we're looking at is, so potentially you could be sent to TJJD all the way up until your 19th birthday, right? That is the last ditch effort to keep you from engaging in criminal behavior as an adult. Now I need to let you know, you're also looking at potential charge in Iowa. I don't know the strength of their case. I have nothing to do with Iowa law, but there is a chance that if you do get committed here, that you will have charges in Iowa to face. I don't even know what age juveniles are juveniles in Iowa. They may have it as low as 16. They may have it as 20. Like I don't know. I don't know if there's a felony or a misdemeanor in Iowa. I don't know anything about Iowa law. I just know what we're looking at here. But I do know enough to let you know that if the police do file charges, you're looking at something here in Texas, and again, something else in Iowa. So decisions were made. Doesn't look like they were good decisions, but it is what it is. We have to deal with what we have to deal with, okay? So at this point, my advice to you is get your behavior level as high as possible, give your attorney something to work with to convince me that you don't need to go to TJJD. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Jake Livingston, or Jacka Livingston. Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Livingston, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You've been here. So did I release them? Who released them then? These are new cases. He got probation in April. Okay. All right, so Mr. Livingston, this is a detention hearing. We've had these before. You know that you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. And that if I keep you here, you have a right to see a judge every 10 days. All right, so Mr. Livingston, everything started when you were 13 years old with a family violence case. Then you were released. Then engaged in organized crime. Then you were released. Then evading arrest on foot. And criminal trespass and possession of weed. You were released to get arrested for possession of weed again. And theft of property. So while you have a evading arrest, criminal trespass, possession of weed, theft of property from $750 to $2,500 cases, they're all pending. You get arrested for another family violence case, an evading arrest case. You get probation. At this point, you're 14 years old. Wait a minute. At that point, you are 14 years old. So you're on probation in February. Then in April, you get arrested for burglary of a building, which then you get probation for again. And then now in August, on Friday, let's see. Police said there's a shooting in progress call where 3 individuals armed with handguns robbed 2 victims after refusing to hand over money. In addition, Jack was in possession of marijuana when searched. He was transported here. Oh, this is the one with Ballard. So, see, currently you're in family partnership program, TCAP concerns, because there's a fight between you, a verbal fight with you and your mom. You jumped out of the car, ran away, didn't come home. She didn't report the argument, but said that you had not been staying at home since the incident. So we had scheduled an administrative hearing, but mom didn't tell you about the administrative hearing. So it's rescheduled for this morning. So knowing you had an administrative hearing, now you get arrested with pot on you. And we give you a drug test and you're smoking weed. And you're on probation for 3 different cases. And you're implicated in this aggravated robbery, in this shooting. I'm even here?
Yes.
So how come you didn't let your son, so this whole idea of probation is this idea that it's safe to release the kids in the community because the parents are going to help us supervise this child and make sure he does the right thing. How can he, didn't argue with you, run out of the car, or we schedule an administrative hearing, you not tell him? Like, I'm trying to understand, Mom.
You said why I didn't tell them?
Yes.
Well, because I just feel like he'll come back home when that I knew he would return home.
That doesn't answer my question.
Oh, you said why I didn't tell him about the hearing?
Yeah, why don't you tell him about the hearing? Why don't you tell us when he jumps out of your car and runs off?
Okay, well, when I did try to contact him about the hearing, his phone was off. It was
Hold on. Why are we even in the situation where you have to call him? Why aren't you saying across the couch sofa from him, hey, we've got a court hearing on Friday?
Because if he's not answering his phone and he's not at home, how else am I supposed to?
That's my question. Why is he not at home?
Because he don't stay at home like he's supposed to, and I can't make.
So why aren't you telling us when he's not staying at home when he's not supposed to?
Well, I just feel like I don't know why I didn't tell y'all. I don't know, but I did talk to the probation lady about the situation, and I was like, I felt like we needed to try and get him in like boot camp or something to try to get some type of structure in his life so he can try to do better.
Yeah,
I did talk to her about that.
I will tell you the problem right now is the problem that he has. He doesn't need boot camp for structure. He needs a home with structure because you're not providing that structure. You're not giving him consequences to his decisions. In fact, Mom, you're enabling him. You're covering for him. You're making excuses for him. Right? This is the problem with your son is he's making these decisions because you're not holding his feet to the fire. Right? And this is why everything's escalating. And now apparently somebody shot and had to get airlifted because of the failure on your part to make decisions and to make him accountable. Right? I hope you understand. And I'm not saying this to beat you up. I'm saying this to give this as a wake-up call that you need to understand that you have an important part of this. It is your decisions that led us to this discussion today. Like, to me, it's clear as day, looking at his history, everything has escalated. He has never had accountability. He's gotten chance after chance after chance, and people are all around him telling him, oh, you're a good kid. And he's not. That's the problem. Right? He's 14 years old on 3 different types of probation. That's not a good kid. So anyways, I'll tell you what, Mr. Livingston, I'm going to go ahead and detain you. You're looking at really serious charges. Cooperate with your attorney. Do everything your attorney tells you to. Help your attorney help you. This is a tough case. All right, so I am detaining you. Mary, go ahead and put a note. Shall not be released. Actually, keep this case with the district judge. And so I don't want the associate judges hearing this. All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Corey and Montague. Yes, thank you, Miss. I'm sorry, Miss Perkins. I just frustrated. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'm sorry, it was Miss Hamrick. It wasn't Miss Perkins. All right, Mr. Montague.
How you doing?
No, Ms. Keenan.
Yes, Your Honor.
How was your weekend?
Oh, it was fine.
Mr. Montague here?
Yes, sir.
All right, there you are. All right, Mr. Montague, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I need to make a decision whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you in custody, the law says you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent, but if you give up that right, anything you say at a detention hearing cannot be used against you at any other type of court setting. Finally, you have a right to an attorney. If you or your family cannot afford an attorney, I'll provide one for you. All right, so Mr. Montague, you're 15 years old now. This all started when you were 12. You're arrested for evading arrest on foot. You're released. Then you turn 13. You get arrested for an assault bodily injury, which you got probation for. But while that case is pending, you were released. You got arrested for another assault bodily injury and an ag assault causing serious bodily injury. So now you have 3 cases pending. You're released. And then January, you get arrested for another assault bodily injury. And then you get probation on February 8th. So supervisory caution. So you still have a pending charge. Then you get arrested for evading arrest, which then you take probation for both evading arrest and the assault bodily injury. At this point, you're still 13 years old. Then you get arrested for unauthorized use of a vehicle. So he's on probation for 3 months.
Yes, sir.
You get arrested for burglary habitation with intent to commit a felony, retaliation. But those are all dismissed. Then in July, you're still on probation, July of 19. So at this point, you're 14 years old. You get arrested for burglary of a vehicle, which was supervisory cautioned. But you were released, you get arrested for another unauthorized use of motor vehicle, which you're placed on probation for. So you're currently on probation, and we brought you in, you're positive for marijuana. All right, so yesterday, 4th PD brought you in on a warrant that we issued back in January for cutting off your electronic monitor. Okay, according to the police, while on patrol, they saw an associate of yours hanging out at a local convenience store. They came into the parking lot, saw DeCorrigan sitting inside a vehicle. He was recognized to be the individual with a homicide warrant. Let's go back. Okay, so May of this year, homicide detectives were notified of a homicide in Fort Worth. When the detectives got there, the responding officer said that when he was on patrol, he was flagged down by a black female who was standing over the body of a black male lying in a pool of blood. Victim identified the female as her boyfriend. She was able to inform the officer that 2 black males in a red Ford were involved in injuring the victim. He was pronounced dead at the scene with a gunshot wound to the chest. She told the detectives that the victim was called to the car and came back a short time later to get $40 from their car, walked back to the vehicle, and shortly after she saw the suspect's vehicle drive away and the victim on the ground. They reviewed the surveillance video and got the license plate number from the vehicle, tracked down the owner. Owner said her son owns and operates the vehicle. The suspect agreed to be interviewed, told the detectives that a black male known as Ape Gang Taliban, later identified as DeCorrigan Montague, asked him for a ride. At a store, the victim came up to him, offered him some weed. The victim went back to the vehicle with the weed. Then Mr. Wade accidentally accelerated the gas. The victim jumped into the vehicle and said that he had a fireman's lap, and the victim grabbed it. So during the struggle, Mr. Montague shot the victim. After investigation, said that Mr. Wade and DeCorrigan knew each other through social media, picked him out of a lineup. And the detectives believe after ballistic testing that there was a second handgun used. All right, so there's a warrant issued for the capital murder. As they saw you in the parking lot, detained you at gunpoint, you disobeyed several commands to put the hands up, saw you passing something to a female in the back passenger seat, and then He revealed his hands when in custody. They asked if there's a weapon in the vehicle. Mr. Montague said it was, gave the location of the gun. They confirmed the passenger of the gun was placed on the floorboard by Decorian. Name ran through the system, showed up the homicide warrant. So before coronavirus hit, there was problems with you skipping school, leaving home without permission, not doing your substance abuse treatment, and continuing to use drugs. January placed you on electronic monitor to help you with the attendance and leaving home issues. On January 16th, you cut off the EM without permission, and we haven't known where you are. We've called your mom several times asking her to turn you in or give us an address where you are, and she would not tell us. She only would say she saw you a couple of days ago every time the officers made phone contact. All right. So, Mr. Montague, I find there's probable cause for the offense of capital murder, right? I'm also going to say, Mom, if during that time, if you knew where he was, I really wish you had told Mr. DuBose where he was, because if he was in custody at the time on that warrant, probably wouldn't be implicated in this homicide, all right? So, but we are where we are. So, Mr. Montague, the best thing I can say to you is cooperate with your attorney, give him every reason to help you on this case. I've known Ms. Keenan for many years. In fact, Ms. Keenan and I have been colleagues since, I was going to say since you were in Pampers, but probably since before you were born. We've stood shoulder to shoulder, got a good attorney, work with her, not against her. Okay? All right. All right. Thank you, Ms. Keenan.
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, this idea that his mom could have, like, knew where he was, like, we don't know, but if she did. All right, Mr. Ponce, I'm Judge
Yes,
Kim.
Your Honor.
If this is a detention hearing, I need to decide whether to keep you here or to release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, we'll provide one for you. All right, Mr. Ponce, I'm somewhat familiar. This is a companion case with Marco. So you're 15 years old. You've never been here before. On Friday,
Yes, sir.
we're using GPS to locate a vehicle, did a traffic stop. You were the police are saying you were the driver. Marco was the front passenger. Marco was charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon when they found the .38 revolver within his reach. And so, all right, is Mom or Dad here?
No, Your Honor, we were having trouble getting the link to them, so I don't know if she's here or not.
Okay. Mr. Daniel, you're here, right? Raymond Daniel? So I'm trying. Mr. Beaver, I'm going to ask you to pinch hit on this one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, so Mr. Beaver, I'm actually appointing you in a dual role at this point since the parents are not here to act as both as attorney ad litem and guardian ad litem. This is what I'm going to do. All right, Mr. Ponce, normally I just hold you because your parents aren't here. Looks like it may not be a fault of yours. Zoom is having issues nationwide today. Not happy that you're involved with a firearm. That's a really big deal for me. I can let you know that pretty much any kid that has a firearm on them when they're arrested pretty much stays here. All right, that's kind of where I draw that bright line. So that's what's working for you. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually okay releasing you to your parents whenever they show up. It's your first offense. It's a unauthorized use. I don't necessarily think that's a danger to the community. Okay. Now here's my deal. I'm gonna ask you a question because we didn't. Let's see, Mr. Richardson, we didn't give him a drug test, did we?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we weren't supposed to. He had never been here before. All right, so Damon, I'm gonna ask you a question. Don't answer the question yet. Let me explain something to you. The question I'm going to ask you is, if I give you a drug test, are you going to be clean or dirty? Before you answer me, there are three ways this can work out. The first way is you tell me that you're dirty. We have a conversation. I make you stay in here level 1-0. And then once you get there, I'll go and release you and we'll do random drug testing on you. All right. Now, if you tell me, here's the problem. If you tell me that you're clean and you're clean, I just release you as soon as your parents can get here. All right. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is you tell me that you're clean and we give you a drug test and you're dirty. Then what happens is I can make you stay here for 3 days till you get to level 1 outstanding, and then go ahead and make you wait, hold it for another additional 7 days. Okay. And so just so you know, it's kind of the options up to you. I'm going to ask you if I give you a drug test, or are you going to be clean or dirty?
Dirty, sir.
Okay, what are you going to be dirty for?
Marijuana.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Mr. Victorson, let's give him a UA, confirm it's just marijuana. Damien, all you have to do is get to level 1-0, and I'm okay releasing you to your parents, probably on electronic monitor. Okay, I don't have enough information, so I'm going to go ahead and err on the side of caution. If it turns out you're doing fine, your probation officer is fantastic. He'll make a recommendation to take it off when it's the right time. Okay? Consequence, you know, weed's illegal, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you just got caught this time. It's probably a good idea not to use it so you don't get caught. All right?
Sir.
Just, you know, Damon, my policy is if you ever come back here, we'll give you a drug test automatically. If it's your first time here, we don't give you a drug test. It's just every time you're a return visitor. So just be careful. If you ever have a chance of getting brought back to Kimbo, you want to be clean. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Damon.
You're welcome.
Yeah, level 1-0. Nope. Just hit level 1-0 and then you can be released. Jadelyn Rice. All right, Mr. Rice, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. You've been here for 10 days, so I'm reviewing your case. I need to decide whether to keep you here or to release you. If I keep you here, you see a judge every 10 days while you're here. You have the right to remain silent, and you have a right to an attorney. All right, Mr. Rice, you are 16, almost 17. We have a determined sentence hearing scheduled for August 31st, next week. Let's see. Mr. Rice, this all started when you were 11 years old with an evading arrest, out of state, assault public servant that was out of state. Or was he being supervised out of state?
Your Honor, that was, I believe that was from Frisco and Collin County, and he was transferred here, and we did interim supervision.
Okay, good. All right, so since then you got arrested, we'll just go assault causing bodily injury of a family member, theft of property from $2,500 to $30,000, which you got probation for, burglary of a habitation, possession of marijuana, terroristic threat of a family member, aggravated robbery, which was refused, harassment of a public servant, which was waived, spitting on a peace officer. But 2 months later, or 6 weeks later, you're arrested for another harassment of a public servant, which you got probation for, resisting arrest. 3 weeks later, arrested for another family violence. 5 months later, for assault of a family member by strangulation. Criminal mischief. All right, so in July, Fort Worth PD was responding to an arson, or Fort Worth Fire, responding to an arson. Their victims heard a window break, saw a fire in the front room. They saw the male running from the area. Victim was able to get a fire extinguisher, put out the fire while on the phone with 911. Once the police got there, victim said they had several problems with Jadelyn Rice, the victim daughter's ex-boyfriend. Victim said that Jadelyn Rice had been throwing rocks and other items through their window. It's been escalating. Officers saw a video, a neighborhood surveillance video. They saw a male person home, light something, throw it through the window, and run away. Victim said, same height, build, and moved like Jadelyn Rice. So a couple days later, Fort Worth Fire got a warrant and executed the warrant. Inside the house that was set on fire, there were 7 people in the home, 3 of which were under 10 years old. So 4 days later, there's an out of custody report. Defense report said that they were dispatched to a disturbance to find a runaway, made contact with Jadelyn's mom, who said that Jadelyn had stolen her car. She said she tracked her car to the location where she got there, saw Jadelyn walking away from the car. She tried to get the keys, but he refused. Once officers approached, Jadelyn began to walk away. They called out to Jadelyn to stop and talk to him, but he continued to run away. And so he got away. All right. Well, Jadelyn, at this point, I feel like if I release you, you're a danger to yourself, but especially to the community. So I'm going to go ahead and order you detained. We have a determined sentence hearing on August 31st in a week. So I will see you then. All right, thank you. Wesley Smith.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I've been retained to represent Wes.
All right.
Computer isn't working.
I'm sorry?
Computer isn't working. We have family members.
Okay. No, parents are working. You're showing it right now.
Oh, I guess it keeps coming up and shutting off.
No, he's.
Okay, that's working now.
Yeah, Judge, it's working, but it'll go in and out. It jumped 3 times you did the last hearing.
Okay.
You want me to bring Mom in?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Good morning, Your Honor, once again.
Morning, Ms. Reyes. I think Ed needs some attitude lessons from Ms. Reyes.
And Judge, we're actually asking you to keep him.
Okay.
He's on probation. And so, and we need to find a drug treatment facility for him.
Okay. All right, Wesley, this is a detention hearing. We're just here. I need to decide whether to keep you here or to release you. If I keep you here, you get to see a judge every 10 days. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Your family has hired Miss Abel's very good attorney to represent you, which means Mr. Houston's fired, I guess. All right, so Wesley, you're on probation for assault causing bodily injury. You're at TYRC, in residential. So, the police were dispatched on the black Ford F-150 at Simpson Park. License plate came back as stolen out of Wise County. So, did a traffic stop, sitting in the driver's seat. All passengers were removed. So you're arrested for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. All right, so Ms. Abels, I mean, I see what you're saying, but I'm seeing his history of marijuana use.
Right.
Like, are y'all looking for private treatment?
I don't think so. I think that there happens that he may be able to go to TYRC inpatient, and I think that's what we're looking at.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm gonna go back just a little bit on his substance abuse for with Wesley. I had him for almost a month, so he's been using from the past, and the only reason he ended up coming to our system, that was because prior to his charges, he was still using. So Mom was using a private counseling for Wesley. So that's when he ended up assaulting one of the counselors. So when I met Wesley, I even told Wesley that he needed to stop that behavior. And I even gave my own personal weekend time to check up on him. And I believe Mom will help me with that a little bit more. So just to move forward, last week, I spoke to one of his counselors, Mr. Dave Miracle, and he mentioned that Wesley, in this case, he's still using. So we started developing a plan to get him to more intensive treatment. On Thursday, Your Honor, I had the opportunity to talk to Wesley. And I told Wesley, you still using, you still live in the house without consent. I know you're coming back, but my concern is your safety in the community. And also, Wesley, you also doing tattoos without your mom's consent. He has a couple of tattoos around his neck. So then with Mr. Miracle, I asked him, Mr. Miracle, do you have anything out there for him so we can get him in so he can get more treatment? And he did mention that there's a bed opening for the 8th of next month. When I spoke to Wesley on Thursday, Your Honor, I said, Wesley, are you gonna leave the house after I talked to you? He said, no, sir. Do you totally understand that I'm an ambassador of the judge, and he's gonna tell you the same thing, how important it is for you to stay away from drugs, and then about the conditions. He said, yes, sir, yes, sir. And next thing you know, at the very next day, actually on the same day, late hours, I spoke to him. That's what he ended up. That's when he committed the new offense. So this is where we at. I know mom and dad, they're really frustrated with the situation on his usage.
I get that. So here's the thing, Ms. Abels. My concern is if we're going to spend the tax dollars, the Tarrant County tax dollars on drug treatment, I want to make sure the treatment is effective. Right? I just don't want to do it just because. Here's the thing is I'm not seeing the research that shows drug treatment for marijuana does anything. Everything indicates it's more of a choice than an addiction. And if that's the case, we're just throwing money away on trying to treat somebody who's making bad choices. It would be better served getting treatment on the decision-making process rather than a substance abuse perspective. So I'm not against treatment. What I'm saying is any kind of counseling. I've been asking people for a year now to show me any kind of study that shows drug treatment for marijuana actually works. It doesn't. It seems like the drug treatment or treatment for bad decision-making is more effective in stopping marijuana use than actual drug treatment program, traditional drug treatment programs. So that being said, I'm willing to detain him because from what Mr. Reyes is saying, it's just a mess. He's not gonna follow any rules, any supervision. I agree we should detain him, but let's figure out where we're going as far as where he goes from here. Right? I'm open to ideas. Ms. Abels, I'm not shutting the door on the treatment. I'm just saying, just justify it before I spend the taxpayer dollars.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank you, Wesley. So meanwhile, you're being detained.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be dismissed?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Have a wonderful day.
You too, sir. Thanks again.
All right. So at this point, we're proceeding to 10-day detention hearings. I'm going to switch over. And I'll be back for one of the 10 days in just a moment. So anyways, Judge Terry, I believe you're here. All right, thank you.
I am, Judge, thank you. All right, I believe, let's see. Hernandez is actually waived, Judge. All right, let's do Cameron Newton next. I think Ms. Keenan is here somewhere.
I'm here, Your Honor.
Here you are.
Sorry, I was muted and
That's okay.
my video was off.
Can we get Cameron Newton, please? Oh, there you are. Are you Cameron Newton?
No, man, I'm Joseph Navarez.
Okay. We need Cameron Newton.
Oh,
actually, Judge, if you don't mind, Mr. Navarez, sit there.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me take care of this one and we'll move on.
All right, great.
All right, Mr. Navarez, I'm Judge Kim. This is a detention hearing. I'm here to decide whether to keep you in custody or to release you. If I keep you here, you have to see a judge within 10 days. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. And I believe Mr. Adler has been appointed as your attorney. All right, the parents here for Mr. Navarez?
They are, Your Honor. Or the mom is.
Mom is on. Oh, is that Nilda?
Yes, sir.
Great. All right, Mr. Navarez. You're brought in here for aggravated robbery. They're saying that August 9th, they were dispatched on Main Street, met with a victim who's a Dallas Police Department officer who was shot multiple times, transported to the hospital. Says the victim was shot since Joseph Navarez and his companion Brian were trying to steal the victim's wife's purse. Witness saw it, the incident, saw Mr. Joseph standing over the victim, pointing a black handgun and firing a round at him. Then jumped into a tan GMC truck headed south on Main. A separate off-duty officer followed the truck until assistance arrived. Navarez and companion were apprehended. They interviewed the juveniles. Joseph admitted to the shooting. Oh, these are one of the stockyards, right? Admitted to the shooting was the theft of the victim's bag. Security video showed Joseph committing the shooting and theft. So they were both arrested and brought here. And he's on probation out of Dallas County for assault bodily injury. All right. Oh, and you're level 3 unacceptable. What? All right, Ms. Guerrero, why is he level 3 unacceptable?
Well, Judge, it seems that he continues to violate his DNA. His companion.
Oh. Okay. All right, so Joseph, let me explain something to you. This is not Dallas County. Okay? Things run different here than Fort Worth. I'm going to let you know that I really don't have a lot of tolerance for shenanigans. I'm going to let you know that if you keep on pushing this and you can't behave in our detention facility, I'm not going to let you interrupt other children's process of rehabilitation and bettering their lives. We will move this case fast, okay? When I say fast, I think the law requires me. Ms. Guerrero, petition's already been filed?
No, sir.
I'm sorry, you cut out. Is that yes or no?
No.
Sorry?
Okay. All right, so there's some time, but once that petition's filed, that really opens up. Now, Mr. Alder's a very good attorney, but he can only do so much, right? If you're fighting him and you're fighting his work, then he can't carry both of you if you're making it harder for him. So that being said, my advice to you is to do everything you can to help your case. I hope you understand that if there is a disposition hearing on this one, all your behavior in the detention center comes back out. So if the idea is you're asking me for probation, your attorney's trying to convince me to give you probation, then one thing I look at is how well did you follow the rules at our detention facility? If you can't avoid associating with people here at Kimbo, then it's a real hard argument for your attorney to make to say, Judge, release him, and we promise he's not going to associate with other criminals in the community. Right?
Yes, sir.
At the very least, right now, use this opportunity to create a track record that you can do what's expected of you. Because if you don't do that here, then you can't do it in the community. Use all our detention officers, use that as kind of a friend, right? They're there so they can take notes to say, hey, he has not had a problem this entire time. Joseph's followed all the rules. He's obeyed all the commands. He's going to be fine on probation. Or you fight it and say he can't follow a single rule. It's going to be real easy for the DA to say in your case, Judge, why even waste your time with probation? Because, well, he's not doing it here. How can he possibly do it at home? You understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir.
Help your attorney help you. Mr. Adler, is that fair to say?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you. So at this point, you're level 3. I'm not releasing you. Okay, there's no way I would ever release you on level 3.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, there's hypothetically a way, but it's not realistic. Okay, so improve your situation. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. King.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Judge.
All right, I'm passing this back to Judge Terry.
All right, thank you, Judge. All right, are you Cameron Newton?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is your 10-day detention hearing. I'm Judge Terry. You have a right to have this hearing every 10 business days once you've been detained, and that way I can decide whether we should keep you here or if I could release you to a parent or guardian. You have a right to remain silent, but if you do choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding here. I can only consider it during detention hearings. You have a right to an attorney, and your attorney, Ms. Keenan Perkins, is here on the Zoom screen. Do you see her?
No.
See me, Cameron? Can you see me?
No.
Her box highlights in yellow when she talks. Can you try again, Ms. Perkins?
Can you see me? Yeah, he's nodding.
Is that a yes, Mr. Newton?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So first thing I see is level 3 confined. So what's going on, Ms. Smiley?
Actually, as of this morning, I completed a report last night. As of this morning, he's level 3 unacceptable.
And that was due to a peer altercation in the back this past Saturday.
Okay, what happened?
Let me read you the email I received. Good afternoon. Please be advised that residents Ivan Poe and Cameron Newton were involved in a physical altercation in the gym. Resident Poe was the instigator in the situation and earned 47 hours of disciplinary seclusion, which began at 12:50. Resident Newton, although not the instigator or the aggressor, due to his response to Ivan Poe, earned 24 seclusion hours, which began on that same day at 12:50. And that's what happened with that. That's the email from the operations manager Saturday afternoon.
Okay. And so what was his behavior like before that?
I'm sorry?
What were his behavior levels looking like before that?
Well, it was about the same. It was level 2, level 3. It was different point deductions he received for his behavior, not following instructions, slow to comply, using profanity, and being disrespectful to staff.
Okay, so here's the deal. Mr. Newton, you have, I'm seeing what's filed on you right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pending offenses. You're also on probation with us. You've been pretty busy, 2018 with us here, 2019. And then you made it through almost half the year before you started back up again this year. Here's the thing, Mr. Newton, I'm not going to go through everything again. It's already been probable cause, has already been found to detain you the first time. Right now, just based on your behavior levels and the offenses that the types of offenses that you're pending, you've got burglary of a habitation, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, burglary of habitation with intent to commit another felony, aggravated robbery, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, burglary of a habitation with intent to commit another felony, and then another one of those on top of that. So, and your level 3, well, level 3 unacceptable now. While I do commend you for not being the instigator with Mr. Poe, I'm just going to tell you this, you're not even getting to level 1 in any way, shape, or form. You've been here for 73 days, which just tells all 3 judges that you have no intention of complying or giving us any reason to release you. Well, I will tell you this too, Mr. Poe, I know what he's here for. I know what he does and stuff too, so it doesn't surprise me that he's instigated something, okay? So I will just tell you that you will never be able to control how somebody behaves towards you, okay? Ever, especially not guys that are out there kind of doing the same kind of stuff that you're doing. You think anybody can control you, any of your peer guys? No, and you'll be able to control what they're going to do to you. So you can only control how you react to them. Okay. And that's just something for you to think about. But there's no way I can even consider releasing you with these kind of pending charges when you're on this behavior level. You know how that goes, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I need to tell my
Okay, he's got a resource staffing coming up here soon, which hopefully will be completed before September 17th when you appear before Judge Porter. So, all right, he's detained. Thank you.
Hey, can I
I'm detaining you because I'm finding that you are still a danger to the community and likely to reoffend based on your history.
I'll call you in just a few, okay, Cameron?
Yeah, because I haven't been talking to you like a month, and I have some questions.
Right.
And stuff.
All right, Mr. Newton, your attorney will call you. We need Nathaniel Pina.
Now, there's huge honor.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Smiley.
Okay, thank you.
I'll move it up a little bit.
Are you Mr. Pina?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is your 10-day detention hearing. You have a right to have this hearing every 10 business days once you have been detained so that I can determine whether we should keep you here detained or if we can release you to a parent or guardian. And I think I do see, is that Monica Pena? Are you mother?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're waving. Yes. You have a right to remain silent, but if you do choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding here. I can only consider it for detention hearing purposes, okay? And you have a right to an attorney. And your attorney, Mr. Berger, is here on the Zoom screen. Do you see him? He's got like a, I need glasses, maybe a light or a white or a pink colored dress shirt on.
It's pink.
Okay. Do you see him, Mr. Pena?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, you're 16 and almost 17 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
Behavior levels 1 outstanding. It looks like pretty much as quick as he could get there, right, Ms. Blair?
Your Honor, I'm covering for Ms. Blair. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Ms. Turner-Hill. Okay, thanks. You're charged with tampering, fabricating physical evidence with intent to impair, and terroristic threat of a family household ×2. Attached to a residence in reference to a gun. Police ordered occupants out of the house to exit. 4 females exited, and then you complied and exited. Your mother told police that you were upset, saying that someone took $300 from you. When no one responded, he went to one room where you flashed the gun to one sister, and another sister believed to be present as well, based on the report. He never pointed a gun or saying he was going to shoot anyone. When officers consented to search, they found a backpack hidden in the dryer. The backpack contained an M&P shield, 9mm, unknown if loaded or stolen. 38 grams of a leafy substance, 0.38, and a controlled substance believed to be mushrooms, as well as latex gloves. Daniel was apprehended and transported to Juvenile Detention Center.
Judge Terry, can I say something?
Just a minute.
I didn't say anything,
The
Nathaniel.
attorney's asking you not to say anything. So you tested positive for THC when you came in. Where are we at with filing a case on this? Who did I see here? Was it Mr. Reed?
Judge, I'm not sure what particular prosecutor is handling this case.
Okay.
I can check, Judge.
Okay.
It's Lana, Your Honor.
Pardon?
Ms. Bell is assigned to the case.
Okay. Mom, did you know that he had a gun?
I knew previously, yes. Or I had heard.
Have you kind of done a sweep and gone through the house and things to see if there's if he has any more? He's been
Yeah,
here?
I've already looked through his stuff. There's nothing else.
Judge,
Yes.
I think you should be aware that CPS is involved in this case. And I understand it's going to be a wrapper case, at least as of this morning.
Okay. Has that been presented downtown yet?
Not to my, but the probation officer might have some information on that.
When, so Ms. Turner-Hill, can you give her a message that when she does get that to please provide the cause number to Stephanie?
It hasn't been presented downtown. It's still in the early stages.
Right, but when it does get presented, if it does and it goes through, you can please give Stephanie the cause number.
They're just assisting mom with trying to place him. I don't know if they're gonna fully engage in the case or not. We're gonna get permission from the attorney to do a psychological evaluation for Nathaniel.
Okay. Well, when Mr. Berger mentioned that was going to be a wrapper, that led me to believe that they were in the early stages of possibly formalizing it through a court order. So if that happens, just make sure that Stephanie gets the case number.
Judge, I was contacted last Tuesday with the view that it wasn't definite, but that it was heading in that direction. So it's almost a week later. I'm not sure what the holdup is, but I'm certainly not going to get too involved with that aspect of it until I hear something from CPS.
Okay. And so, Mom, that kind of tells me a little bit that you're not prepared to take him home at this time, are you?
The situation is we live with my mother and she refuses for him to come back to the house. So it's not, it's not up to me. I mean, he is my responsibility, but I do not have the means to afford a place of my own. And so while we live under her roof, she makes the rules.
That's right. Did you hear that, Mr. Pena? I almost can't blame her. So there really is no place to send you. And I guess we'll wait and see what CPS happens. Mr. Berger, if you can stay on that and perhaps maybe request a detention hearing or something like that if something happens sooner than the next 2 weeks.
Yes, Judge.
I'm concerned. I don't want to know. I don't want you to say anything, Mr. Pena, but I'm concerned about the fact that you have a gun. I'm concerned about the fact that Mom knew you had a gun in the house before. I'm concerned about the fact that unless you have a job that we don't know about, that you have $300 there. I mean, it's possible that maybe you've saved it from gift money and stuff, but this kind of behavior is very concerning. And so I don't know what's going to happen with CPS and stuff, so I will just encourage you to stay on level 1 outstanding, because if you fall from that, you definitely will not be released without a, well, most likely won't be, depending on what happens with CPS. So, and if your behavior level is not level 1 outstanding, that will also affect the kind of placement that's available for you through CPS. I think Mr. Berger can explain all that to you. So right now I am not comfortable releasing you. I don't feel that there is proper supervision at home for you still. And obviously your grandmother is denying you to stay in her home, which is her right. So there's no place for you to go. So I'm gonna have to detain you. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Okay. Brian Enriquez?
Yes, ma'am.
This is your 10-day detention hearing. You have a right to have this hearing every 10 business days once you have been detained. The purpose of this was to determine whether I can release you to a parent or guardian, or if I should keep you detained here. And do we have a parent here for him?
Yes, ma'am. The parent should be out in the lobby.
Okay. Can we get Mr. Enriquez's parents in here? They're not in the parent courtroom, so.
Oh, just disconnected.
Yeah, I don't know. There we go. Mute that. There we go.
Judge, I'm sorry, but the computer in the parents' courtroom is kind of logging on and off, back and forth. So they're in here now.
Ew, okay. Yeah, I see them now. Thank you. I just saw them walk in. So, all right. No. All right, Mr. Enriquez, you have a right to remain silent, but if you do choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding here. I can only consider it for purposes of detention, okay? You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney is Mr. Beaver. Do you see him here on the Zoom screen?
Good morning.
Oh, yeah.
You see him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, 16 years old. You're level 3 outstanding since today. What happened, Mr. Nava?
Oh, Your Honor, on the 23rd yesterday, he was violating his non-associate status with his companion, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah.
And he also got civil infraction for not following instructions and being off task.
Okay. Well, see, that tells me, Mr. Enriquez, that you want to stay here. Judge Kim already talked to your buddy, Mr. Navarez. And I assure you I'll repeat, and I mean what Judge Kim said too, to him, you ordered not to associate, you're not to associate, okay? We're not playing games with you. I think that's what Judge Kim said to him. This is not a game, all right? And you're not gonna win this game with any of the 3 of us judges, whether me or Judge Kim or Judge Porter, whoever you get. You are not to associate with Mr. Navarez, okay? If you continue to do that and continue this kind of behavior, you'll just stay here. You'll just stay until your case is resolved or until we can find a place more suitable for you other than our detention facility, but that place would not be at home, okay? So it's already been found probable cause to detain you on your aggravated robbery offense, and your behavior in the back tells me that you are still not ready to be released because you can't even behave here when there are, when you're detained and there are several people supervising you. So I think if you were to be released, you'd be a danger to yourself and others still with the pending offense like aggravated robbery. You give me nothing to consider today, so think about it for the next 2 weeks, and hopefully you'll be on level 1 outstanding and want to cooperate at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Muy rápido. No se está aportando. Ni va a pensar a dejarlo ir.
Sí.
Trabajar y tratarse bien allá.
Dijo que vamos a esperar a los 15 días.
Did I need something?
La cosa es que está reportando.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, thank you. Okay. Uh-oh, don't tell me the juvenile computer is getting sketchy. There you go. Are you Mr. Varela?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Abels was here. All right, Mr. Varela, this is your 10-day detention hearing, and the purpose of this is to determine whether I can release you to a parent or guardian, or if I should keep you detained here. You have a right to remain silent, but if you do choose to speak, nothing you say can be held against you at any other kind of proceeding. I can only consider it for purposes of detention. And you also have a right to an attorney, and your attorney, Key Abels, is present here on the Zoom. Do you see her?
Can you say that again?
Can you see your attorney, Key Abels, on the Zoom screen?
Yeah, I think.
All right. Okay, is there a parent or guardian here for him?
Your Honor, I'm covering for Mr. Dotson. The parent was unable to log in. They're having issues with the Zoom link.
Okay.
Your Honor, just to be clear, his parents and actually Jawan live in North Carolina. So he cannot be released at this time. He is set for a hearing on the 27th, but at our last detention hearing, Judge Kim ordered a psychological, which is set on the 26th. So I've emailed Mary and asked her to move that.
Okay.
I think that we get the report back on September 1st, and Jawan and his parents are up to date on all of this.
Okay, great. Yeah, I see he was on my docket for the 27th, so I will take him off since that will be passed to get this all put together. So, Mr. Varela, I'm sure you understand what's going on. I remember this because I was the one who got the call over the weekend about this one. All right. Obviously, the parents are both out in North Carolina, right?
Right.
I'm just going to go through it a little bit with you, Mr. Varela, just so you understand where you're at and what's going on, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You're here, it's on the 7th of this month. You were referred in custody by Grapevine PD for evading with a vehicle. Just after midnight, patrol officers observed a vehicle driving without headlights and not staying in a proper lane, leading the officer to believe the driver may be intoxicated. Traffic stop was attempted, but the driver swerved and accelerated in efforts to evade the officer, reaching speeds of 120 miles an hour. Suspect lost control of the vehicle on a curve, striking a tree head on. You're lucky to be alive. Says that you attempted to flee on foot, but the officer, drawing a service weapon, ordered you to stop and get on the ground, and you stopped and complied with commands. Says it may be noteworthy that you had someone on your phone who was egging you on and yelling that he was recording the phone call. Additionally, you made comments to officers bragging about the speeds that you reach and stated, "I saw your red and blue lights and dusted you, bro. Fuck you. I was ready to meet my maker. That was crazy." When assistance arrived, officers, you were checked for needed medical attention and transported you to here, our detention facility. And it determined that the car you were driving was from the order that your father was picking up. Father said you were sitting in the car as he was preparing to load it onto a truck when you took off in it. I'm guessing that, you know, hopefully the psychological will reveal some way for us to find you some help, because either you are completely disrespectful and need to be detained for quite some time somewhere, or you have some issues that you need some assistance with, which we're happy to do either way.
Judge, he just made a stupid decision, made a 16-year-old boy decision, and I've had
I get that.
lengthy conversations with him. I believe he gets this, you know, and he understands that it's wrong. And I don't even think that we'll need to worry about this happening again.
I sure hope not. I mean, yeah, joyriding and stuff, that's total normal teenage thing. The way he reacted and disrespected the officers and stuff like that when he was caught, I'm worried about that a little bit. So hopefully, Ms. Abels, you have sort of scared him a little bit and explaining to him what he's really dealing with here. So, and well, see, the only reason I went through all that, Mr. Varela, again, is not to sort of belittle you or put you down or anything, just to point out that all of that, how serious it is, and your behavior, you've been here for 17 days, and your behavior is level 3.
Judge, a kid punched him,
and
he went after the kid, but staff grabbed him. He never hit the kid back or anything. And so that's what happened with the level change.
Because he didn't catch him. And I get it. You know, someone hits me, that's what you want to do, Mr. Varela, but you're facing other problems. And I'll tell you the same thing that I tell everyone else, even my own kids. You will never be able to control how someone acts towards you or what they do to you, but you can sure control how you respond to it. Okay. And right now I'm encouraging you to let out everything else around you and get to level 1 outstanding and do what you can do to be the best you can, make the best decisions you can in there, because you're going to have to give whatever judge you're in front of some reason to reason to let you go home earlier or release you earlier, or some reason to not be as.
Ma'am, I was a level 2-0, and I was 1 day from being a 1-0. That's why when he punched me, I didn't start it, but I verbally
I heard that.
I admit that. And when he punched me, that's why I didn't hit him back. Like, yeah, I chased him because I was mad, but I shouldn't have done that, and I was wrong. And that's why I didn't hit him, because I thought by me not starting it and me not hitting him, my level wouldn't change, because I was trying to be a 1-0 when I got to court today.
And I totally get why you wanted to chase him down too. I understand that feeling, okay? I totally understand that. But that's a feeling, and that's something that you have to get under control, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Something that you have to get under control. Give us something to work with when it comes time to decide how your case is being resolved, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're detained for now. Thank you.
Judge, do you have a waiver for Sergio Hernandez?
I do. Thank you. It's already signed. Good to go.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, at this time, do not bring in the next child. Thank you. getting ready to turn the video off, but. All right. This time, because the child is under 14, I have to, Texas Family Code says the hearing shall be closed to the public unless I find that it's in the best interest of the child or the best interest of the public to keep this open, and I could not make that finding in this case. And so I am turning off the live stream of YouTube. There'll be, if everyone can, if whoever is not an officer of the court or here for this child needs to remove themselves from the hearing. Mr. Davidson, who's that? Is he with, I know that name. Is he with JPD? Who's Jim Davidson?
It may be the supervisor, Your Honor, for the sex offender unit.
He is with JPD, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Usually it says JPD in front on there, and I knew his name. I just, okay, so he's fine. And then I see Mom here.